how many people on your team today currently?
Well, we've been in where we're now for about 16 months. Started just me and her, and over 71,000
people.
Months.
How many have you personally sponsored between the two?
Probably about 130.
130 turned into 71,000.
Yeah. Yeah. So you think about all that's underneath those people, and we got about a third probably that are seriously.
And let me tell you, it was
building it.
phone call by phone call by phone call.
Welcome to the Excellence Project. My name is Eric Worre, and today I have two network marketing superstars, Steve and Gina Merritt. These people have been around for 3 decades now. They've built big businesses, and they're going to share some of their story, some of their lessons learned along the way, some of the wisdom that they've gained in that experience. I think you're going to get a lot of value. So with no further ado, let's jump into my conversation with Steve and Gina Merritt. So Steve and Gina, how are you guys?
Excellent. Thank you.
Excited to be here, Eric.
You just get in this morning?
Yeah, we just flew in late last night from Palm Beach, Florida.
Nice. Thanks for coming all the way over to Vegas.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
I'm happy to have you.
Yeah.
So we've recently become connected, recent friends.
Yeah.
But we've both been around a similar period of time inside of this profession.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of go do a back and forth.
Right.
Yes.
What's the origin story? Where'd you come from, Steve? I'll ask you first, and then I'll ask Gina.
I grew up in Wisconsin, water ski capital of the world. My dream was to be a world champion, ski on the U.S. Water ski team. So I came to Florida, started training down there, and that's where I met Gina. I actually found a ski school there and asked them, is any way I can get a job here? They said, well, if you pay us $300 a month to work here, you can have a job. And then I said, hey, can you help me find a job to pay to work here? But little did I know that those coaches they were like the best coaches in the entire industry, taught me how to be a world champion. I actually went on to teach my daughter to be a 2-time world champion. So it was an incredible connection.
So you're a world champion in water skiing?
Yeah.
Slalom?
Yeah.
What?
Barefoot water skiing.
Barefoot?
No skis. We don't do it with no skis. I don't like bindings.
Oh my gosh.
But that taught me a lot in this industry, because if you don't, everything doesn't happen overnight. It took me years to become a world champion. Not even until after we got married. So it was way before I even met her. I was training, but then went on there, and it was just an incredible ride. And it actually helps you through your life, that competitiveness especially.
Right.
I'm not a real people person.
Yeah.
I like to win, but if you have to learn to like people and communicate with them, I learned it. I changed, you learn that skill set.
Right.
To
it
smile.
Was necessary.
And, yeah. I mean, but if you got that competitiveness in you, you just can't get it out of you. You can actually use it in this industry years and years down the road, because, you can't take those hard falls for your entire life,
Yeah.
So I still barefoot ski.
Really?
Gina can barefoot.
Get out of here.
I got grandkids at barefoot.
I love it.
But I will say that I do the things that I know how to do that I'm not going to fall. Now they might look hard to you, but they're easy for me because I've done them for so many years. And
I'm the driver.
I met her down in South Florida.
Yes.
And that's where it all happened.
So Gina, where'd you come from?
So I'm born and raised in West Palm Beach.
Okay.
The youngest of 3 girls. My parents had foliage nursery. My dad, when I was growing up, was the largest status. It's like a dried flower that's in almost all the arrangements. He was the largest in the United States. And completely learned work ethic.
Yeah.
Really?
The guy went bankrupt. My parents went bankrupt probably 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Really?
And just got up and started fighting again. And I'm telling you, just incredible what my siblings and I learned, my 2 sisters and I. Incredible.
Well, some people would take that as that's not the path I want to go.
Yeah.
But you didn't take it that way? You're just like,
no,
the resilience of it?
I completely learned that it doesn't matter if you're down and out. You can pick yourself up and still win. And I think that's a real value in that. Like Steve's story, his going to go work at a ski school that charged him. Then he had to find a job to pay for that ski school job. That was his passion and his dream. But his mindset, he knew that he needed to be around that environment and be at that place. So it's pretty powerful when you think about it, that he had to go find a job to pay for the ski school job.
Right.
I'm blown away.
Not many people would ever do that.
No.
So I never heard that story ever.
Of all things, Eric, it was washing dishes. Yeah. I'm sure his mom was
That's what I did.
Okay.
I got a job washing dishes that I said, that's the last job I'd ever do to pay to work at the ski school.
So you paid to work at the ski school.
Yep.
By washing dishes
At night.
Yeah.
because you wanted to be around champions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And learn from champions.
Absolutely.
So just in your origin stories,
Mm-hmm.
were you entrepreneurial
Yeah.
in your mindset,
Yeah.
or was
Absolutely.
it because you're more a performer?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a performance is not necessarily an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You're performing. You're gonna do a show.
Right.
Like people who work on the strip here, Cirque du Soleil people,
Mm-hmm.
they're kind of blue collar people. You know,
Mhm.
they show up. They're incredible athletes, but they're trading time for money. They don't own
Yeah.
the show.
Mm-hmm.
So were you more a performer, blue collar, gonna go do this, be a champ, be an athlete? Or was there an entrepreneurial vibe through that endeavor, or did it flip at some point?
Well, probably the story is when we met, and then you asked me to marry you. We got engaged 3 months after we
Yeah.
met, and we got married. And I can remember him saying to me, I want to start my own ski school, my own training center.
Yeah.
And before that, we didn't have a place to live. So we found this property on the water, just on a canal, where he could literally train his students and all that. So we go to get this property, and they said, well, you don't qualify. You don't have the right paperwork.
Yeah.
And I said, come on, let's go back one more time. I mean, I think we went back 3 times.
Yeah.
Finally, the guy that was in the office, he said to you, if you teach me how to barefoot water ski,
Yeah.
you will get the loan. And I'm like, we can teach them. We can
Yeah.
teach them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But because of the way I was raised, I pushed him.
Yeah.
Go back
She's
one more
always
time.
been an encourager.
Go back one more time.
The whole time.
And he went back, and then he got the loan.
Huh.
So then we got the house on the lake. We got married. Then he started his own ski school.
Whose
and
idea was it to switch? Because your path was
Right.
to become a champ, world champ.
Oh, and he was.
And so you were an actual like world champ.
Yeah. I won the world championships in 1990 on the Yarra River in Melbourne, Australia.
Wow.
So the key that, going back to your question, goes back to me growing up.
Okay.
My dad was a manager at a men's clothing store, and the way they made him work, and he only had $2 in his pocket, I always said to myself, I'm never going to work for anyone.
Mm.
So that was a mindset, like, I'm going to get out of where we're at. And that was very different than what many people say, and even my siblings. They kind of saw this as the norm. I said, no way. I am I'm going to not work for somebody. So I was already thinking that. Then I worked at a ski school where I had to pay. Then I worked at some ski schools that I worked for. And I always said for years, they came from around the world to train with myself at schools before I had my own. Now, this is before I was married. And I told every year I'd say to them, because they'd come year after year, I'd say to them, I'm going to start my own training center. And they'd always come back and say, how come you didn't start it yet? Just wait. So it wasn't until I'm about to get married, now I got a reason, your dream. I can't be working for somebody. I got to have my own.
Yeah.
And basically from the time, the first year we got married is when we started our training center.
Okay.
And then it went on to, I even tried to talk to the guy that I worked for, because he had an incredible line of equipment. There's a lot of training equipment you need in water skiing. You growing up in the Midwest, know as well. And I said, hey, I'm 23 or 22 years old. How about if I promote your equipment in my training center? He said, well, you got to pay us like hundreds of thousands of dollars. I said, I'm 22. That was like a really, I just acted like I wasn't interested. And then I went on to make my own.
Really?
So then we not only had a training center, we had our entire line of equipment, mail order company, business around the world.
Okay.
But I used to always sit in that boat, even after having all that success, saying, and everybody wanted my job or my lifestyle.
That's
but I'd
for
say,
sure.
I don't know if I want to stay in this boat for the rest of my life.
So how much money were you making in this line of work?
Yeah, it was probably about $500,000
It's good business.
company.
We
and
busted it.
that's in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you working
And
together? Were you both working in the
I was
business?
a
Oh,
flight
this lady's a
attendant.
Wonder Woman.
I was a flight attendant for Delta Airlines
So
for
you got-
25 years.
So you got to have free flights wherever you went to go do your stuff.
Yes.
And back
Yes.
then it was a very big benefit. Planes were always open. They didn't have all this computer tactics. You walk in there, your name wasn't on the computer. The red coat at the airline. Oh,
Give you your
Steve and Gina are here, and they can, they can you moved up the line. Yeah,
adjust the tickets.
Yeah, it was all different. It was fun. It was a great lifestyle then. But what she did was she'd fly all week long, leaving 3 to 4 days a week, come home, cook at the school, wash all the sheets, do everything that needed to be done. So she was like a wonder. And we got 4 kids.
Wow.
So, it came one at a time.
Flight attendant, 4 kids, plus a business.
Yeah.
Busy.
Yeah.
You had a lot of stuff going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you stayed a flight attendant for how long?
25 years. Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because they owed me those flights for free.
So you want?
I was like,
you wanted to get the lifetime free thing?
Yeah.
Well, because you were making enough money with the business, weren't you?
Not then. This
was
at the
end. I was making enough money.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And even if our ski company, it was a lot of work.
Sure.
Good. You got people training, then people not. It was.
But I love how someone says, well, you work very hard in network marketing. I'm like, let me tell you what hard work is in life.
Yeah.
When I worked for Delta Airlines, I can remember coming in. I was based in Fort Lauderdale. We lived in West Palm. So I would land. I would sleep in a chair in the lounge if there wasn't a flight out to Atlanta, because our ski school was in Atlanta. And I would sleep in a chair. Like, people have no idea. They think that, it was just so easy and great. But no, it was completely hard work. And I would think to myself, I've never been this tired in my life. So I would come in, catch a flight to Atlanta. Then I would run to go get the bus, take a bus, an hour and 30-minute ride in a Greyhound bus, get dropped off at a mall. Somebody from the ski school would pick me up. I would come in, take my Delta Airlines uniform off, and then I would put on my cleaning, cooking clothes.
Yeah.
And so for my 3-4 days off, I would go to the laundromat. I would do 30 loads of laundry, cook for all the students their 3 meals, prepare everything, and then do the bus all the way back to the airport, sleep in the flight attendant lounge in Fort Lauderdale, wait for my sign in at 6 a.m. I'm telling this network marketing is incredible.
How'd you do it with the kids?
We had nannies. We negotiated. We said, you want to be a world champion, which they did.
Yeah.
Then
kids.
Yeah. No. The nannies.
The nannies wanted to
be
world
they
champion.
Wanted to be,
so they would work at the school. Mostly their job was to watch the kids while we were, and they were learning to be at work, off whenever the students were done, then they were on the water.
Wow.
So we, it was interesting.
Interesting.
We traveled the world. We had a blast. It was incredible.
We did. We traveled the world.
Yeah, we took her family, her mom and dad all over the world. They had a blast.
I got to tell you a quick Delta story. Okay. My mom worked for Delta.
Mm-hmm.
She worked for Masaba first, and then they got connected to Delta. She became a gate agent. And my mom had all her friends, and she would do all her gate agent stuff, right? And they ended up changing the policy, so every family member, including me, got flight benefits. I'm like, this seems dumb, because I'm like, I fly millions of miles. I still have the flight benefits. I haven't used them forever. But so I had to go fly from Minneapolis to Omaha for a meeting. And it was just a quick trip, but it was like $1,000 from Minneapolis. It was like a tiny flight, but they were charging, because they didn't do it that often. They charged a lot of money.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, this is stupid. I'm going to try this. I want to try this flight benefit thing. I'm a diamond, all that stuff. So I hadn't done it. So I go, my mom helps me book it, whatever. I fly to Omaha. I have my meeting. I come back, and I'm sitting in the gate area, and there's this guy who is the gate agent. His name is Chad, remember? And he's talking with his friends, and he's eating some food while people are getting ready to, it's kind of weird. I'm looking at it. I'm just sitting there. I don't know the process for a non-rev person to be able to get on a flight. So I'm like, I walk up and I say, excuse me. And I have to get his attention a couple times. I'm a non-rev person. I've never done this before. Do I check in with you? Do I, he said, I'll let you know. Sit down. Go sit down over there. I'm like, okay. So I went and sat down, And he starts going through the boarding procedure. And there's an elderly gentleman who's probably in his late 80s who's sitting there. And he doesn't ask for people who need extra help. He starts asking the zones. And, you know, I watched this elderly gentleman get up, and he's like zone 3 or something. And he struggles to get out of his seat, and he makes his way up to the gate and hands his ticket, and the guy looks at it. It's not your turn yet. Go sit down. Tells to this old guy. And with kind of a snarky look.
Yeah.
And first of all, he should have pre-boarded this guy. And the guy struggles to get back to his chair. And I watched the guy at the gate with this little gleam in his eye. As soon as the guy's butt hits the chair, he smiles and says, "Now boarding the group that this guy was in."
Jeez.
And he has a little chuckle, right? And I see red. I see my grandparents. I see this is not good. I am pissed off. I don't say anything, but I'm not happy. And the guy never complains. He shuffles up, and the guy's kind of like giggling behind the counter. And I hand my ticket and I go on, and I grab my phone and I go on Facebook, and I said, "Chad at gate 36, at Omaha Airport for Delta Airlines is not a nice person for the following reason. And I hope somebody's paying attention, because this is not right." And I just post it. I let it be. And I go on my flight. The next day, my mom gets called into the office. My mom. And they said, "Is this your son?" And they point to the post. And she says, "Yes." They said, "Well, he was a guest of ours on this flight." And she said, "Well, he's also a diamond, just so you know." "Yeah, but on this flight, he was a guest. He was our guest." So they suspended my mom for I think 30 or 60 days, took away her flight benefits for those 30 or 60 days. And I wrote a letter, and I just said, "You're missing the point. This guy's a problem." I didn't mean to embarrass you, but this guy embarrassed you.
Yeah.
He's the problem.
Yeah.
I hope you do something about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we understand. So they did. My mom was so mad, and she had finally got to her retirement thing, so she could keep her flight benefits.
Yeah.
So she just said, when the suspension was over, she got her benefits back. She said, "You guys, see you later." She still flies on their behalf. She still flies.
Yeah.
But
good for her.
But anyway, that was my little Delta story.
Oh,
Everybody's got an airline story, right?
Yeah.
Back when we started our first flight together, she's a flight attendant. We're going on our honeymoon. They're like, "If you want to sit in first class, you need socks and you need a tie." Because back then it was very prestige, in the 80s,
Sure.
So I went down. Luckily, it was one of them shops in Palm Beach that in the airport that was like, not they are now. They're like, they had everything in there.
Yeah.
So they had a tie and some socks. I put them on, and they let me sit in first class. But it was crazy.
Yeah. Funny. So anyway, you guys are scrambling in 500 directions.
Yeah.
Yes.
You've got a ski school. You've got your nannies that you figure out a way to make work.
Yeah.
You've got travel. You got 4 kids.
Yep.
At what point do you realize there's more to life than this ski school can give me?
I don't think we were really looking at that point, other than I always said to myself in the boat. This was actually before I really was saying, I don't know if I want to do this forever, because I was really into it, and we were like having a blast, and we were young.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that another one of Gina's encouragement moments, we wanted to run our school in Florida and Georgia, Atlanta, because not in the wintertime, everybody doesn't come to Florida. They'd stay where they're at.
Mm.
So in Georgia, more people could fly into, and they like to come, somewhere where it's not, Florida's known so hot and everything. So we're looking forever to find a place that we could run the training center out of, like on a lake or at a marina or at a ski shop. I couldn't find one. I was up there looking for weeks. I tell her I'm giving up, just like I did on the mortgage thing. I'm giving up. And she says, "No, try one more time." I walk in this guy's beautiful marina right on the water.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, "Anyway, we could run my training center on here. My name is Steve Merritt." He said, "We'd love to have you. Give us a couple points out of the till. run your equipment here, run the training center. We'd love it. And
it was a huge showroom.
yeah, we were having
had
a
the
blast.
whole entire showroom.
And I respected this gentleman. He owned the marina. One day, out of the blue, he says, man, you and Gina would just tear up this business that me and my wife, Beverly, just heard about. And you've got to take a look at it. And he planted the seed. Curiosity, never told me nothing other than, you got to see this. We'd never heard of network marketing. None of us. We're busy living our lives. Never heard of it. I'm skiing on the water. This was 1987 or 88, somewhere in there.
Same as me. That's when I got involved.
So that's when he said it. And it went on for months that I'm saying to him, Jerry, when are we going to see this opportunity? Well, you and Gina got to be together, and Beverly's got to be, it's got timings. Right? So months, I'm like, now I'm like, oh my gosh, as soon as I see it, I'm in. Whatever he's talking about, I want to, you know, and finally we got together. And when he drew it out, the circles, I'm like, my eyes lit up, because I always said, one of the issues with barefoot skiing especially is, who wants to barefoot ski? I need something that everybody needs.
Right.
I love franchising. So I want to be the owner, though, of the franchise. I don't want to buy a franchise. When he draw them circles, it lit up. From that point, I'd never look back as far as what the potential could be. Now, it was a big struggle to begin with. And I got a 3-year strategy to save all the young folks and anybody that wants to win faster for them from that experience. But when I seen it, I was like, oh my gosh. I said, get us one of them kit things right now. And he said, oh my gosh. He said, I don't have one. I'm like, we waited all this time. We're at dinner. You didn't bring one? Yeah. Go back to your house. Go get 2 of them, because I'm going to sign up my best friend as well. I just called it my best friend. Mike is like my brother, even though he's my cousin. I'm like, Mike, you're getting in business with it. We're starting today. Oh my gosh. And this guy, and then from then on, it just, you know, we went from there. It took a little bit longer than I thought, because everyone that came to my training center, they were attorneys. They were business owners, owned crane shops, crane businesses. I mean, they had credible opportunity, you know, big businesses to afford to ski with me. But they all said they were miserable. Like, they all wanted you got the life. You're here in Palm Beach skiing every day, your own training center. You have got the life. We want to be you. So I thought, I'm going to save these people out of their misery. But the minute I drew the circles for them, they were like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't do that. Or what? I'm like, then you're going to stay miserable? I mean, I love what I do, and I'm doing this. So it wasn't like I was doing it out of desperation. I did it because I wanted someday to be free, but it isn't like I had to do right that minute. Yeah. What was interesting. But I thought that's pretty unique how the gentleman had me the curiosity approach, told me we'd be great at it. And we've ever since we've ever seen anything. He
even said, you need to have Gina here. And you go, no, because I was flying. And you're like, no, she's on the same page as me. But trust me, I loved being a flight attendant. Yeah. I still miss it to this day. I retired August 1st of 2008. I miss it to this day, like so bad. But I always knew when I was on the airplane, I thought there has to be a way out of here as I'm pushing the beverage cart, or I was back when I started.
No answer, but thinking about it.
When I started, they didn't have meal carts.
What do you miss?
Oh, just the people. I could literally sit on the armrest and talk to a brand new family and become completely
so connection with the customers.
Yeah. With the, yes.
Huh.
And like little kids, people would be like, if this window opened, I'd throw my kid out. I said, no, you're not, because I'm going to walk him down the aisle and he's going to help me pick up. But I just loved it. And I knew that.
She did.
I always, like when you work for the airline, especially a flight attendant, you don't get to pick and choose who you're on, who your coworkers are. So you get, like randomly seniority. So I would think, oh my gosh, did I get some of the laziest girls? And I would be the only one up and down the aisle. But I thought, there's got to be a way out of here. There has to be something better, even though I still loved my career. So my mindset was thinking that every time. And I never really communicated it with him till he came and said to me, Jerry offered this opportunity. Yeah. We need to look at it. We can make blah, blah, blah. And
we were all there together when he showed it. And I will say that even when we were like rocking it in networking, completely rocking it. Okay. She still wants to be a flight attendant. So we would have to go to a convention, or we earned a free trip somewhere, So you're not supposed to do this, but she'd say, can you take my trip? No, I can't. for $200, can you take a day? 200? No, for 500. I mean, I forgot what we'd be like sending cash everywhere just so she could keep her job. And we got all these people working for her during her hours, which is very, very
like
fun.
When we had a
it was crazy.
convention
Yeah. But
So,
I mean, that's how it was.
We don't normally talk about companies, but what was the first company?
Amway.
Amway.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was
I just had a
everybody else heard about Amway except Gina and I. We never heard of it.
I had a conversation with one of the Jaegers last week.
Yeah.
Actually.
Oh, yeah.
And we're gonna have another conversation next week. But so this is a good training ground.
Yeah.
Right. You're working
Yes.
hard.
Excellent training ground. Yes.
Building this thing. I want to circle back just for a second on the airline thing. Was it a combination of the people and also kind of once you get the seniority and you're kind of at the top of the pecking order, that you don't want to give that up because it is kind of nice. It feels nice to be able to have the privileges that come with that. Was that a piece of it?
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Yes. And we love to travel. So I think that with me hanging on, you just never know what life's going to throw you. So we knew we always had that flights for life.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, look at
somewhere.
her.
Kids even
She's
have
like
it. It's
born
like-
to be a flight attendant. Look at that look. I mean,
Yeah, right.
I mean, when she was a flight attendant, they had to wear exactly 3.5, am I right? Inch
3.5 inch heels.
If you did not, and you could not wear them, the only time you could not wear the high heels was pushing the food cart. So up and down every concourse.
Didn't they also have weight requirements back in the day?
She had to weigh in.
Oh, yeah.
She had to have her hair perfect, her makeup, her nails. So she loved, even though she like, oh, I hope I'm going to wait. She knew she could get the weight check and everything, but they didn't, maybe that was a little thing that she loved too. But she did it so long ago that we had beepers. They would beep her and then we had to stop whatever we're doing. We could have been in church, the beepers going off. Everyone's got to get out,
Remember, what was it? What was the pager? It was like nationwide pager.
Yeah.
What was it called?
I don't remember, but I remember being in church and that people
Yeah.
Oh, you're kidding.
We got to go.
Yeah, the pager days, man.
But I will tell you that what I can save some folks 3 years if they want. Took us 3 years to hit a rank. Maybe it was called gold or something like that. 3 years of struggling and working hard. Okay. And we had a great upline. He was a pediatric adult neurologist. This guy was like top of the top, and he's running around me, a barefoot skier that negotiated his way out of high school, right? So we're going to places, but we're showing cousins, we're showing broke flight attendants and broke water skiers. No one else had their own company. But that was our mindset at the time. Look for needy people, look for people that, easy to call. So we were one day after all the tapes and all the books and all the conventions that we went to, getting our confidence, or maybe I should say mine, because she was always confident. She says, why don't you call the dentist that I used to work with? When I met her, she was a dental assistant. So I called the dentist and say, hey, remember me? You came to our wedding, Gina's husband. Yeah, come on over. If he didn't sign up at that moment, right then, say, hey, I got another dentist we need to go show. We signed him up. Then he showed me an accountant. Then he showed me an attorney, the county commissioner, the mayor. Yeah. We're in our early 30s and everybody following us was in our 50s. So my main focus to learn from that is if you're young, it's great that you're doing. I love mentoring the young folks because we started in our late 20s. But I want to encourage you to not only show it to your young friends, show it to their uncle, show it to your friend's uncle, show it to your friend's mom and dad, and use the credibility of the people that are older in your business. And that really skyrocketed. We went to the second highest rank and never went out of qualification for years and years. Even if you're more an older person or mature, you might get in that habit of most people, I took her dry cleaning to this dry cleaning place.
My
Delta
airline uniforms.
Yeah. So anyways, but I only spoke to Betty, and she's the lady that took the laundry. And she was easy for me to talk to. But I had learned now, this is after the second time go around, after we moved to our next company. We only signed up in 2 companies in our entire life of 32 years, only 2. So, but I learned at this point, which already saved me time, that's people wonder, why do you go through the ranks so quick? Because you know who to talk to. Betty is the owner here. I've never met him before. Now, the owner's got 6 of these dry cleaners. He knows what's going on in business. He's not afraid. He's a risk taker. Betty's easy, and I'm not trying to prejudge or take anything away from her, but let him sponsor her if he wants to. Who's the owner? And I said, hey, Scott, is there any, it's just a shot in the dark, but I'm onto something big with some business owners. I've been talking to a lot of them. They all say they love what they do, but one day they'd like to sell it, but maybe they could get a way out of here one day. You ever think of that? But you need to have like an income that's coming in even when you sell your company. I think of it all the time. What do you got? This guy, he came to our home meeting a day early. I mean, that's how fired up. I mean, if you got to talk to people that maybe are not the easiest people to talk to, get your confidence level up. And you know what? Even if you can't say the wrong thing to the right person, but you got to talk to those people. Gina always taught me, I learned it from her being a flight attendant for all those years. She'd do that. Most people don't listen to the talk, but I'd always want to listen to her when I'm on the talk, when they have all their equipment and they say, these are the procedures that you got to do if we have an emergency. So she'd always say, hey, if there's a emergency and the oxygen masks go down, make sure you put your own on first and then your kids or anybody else you need to help. And that's why I think a lot of people, I've always used that in this industry. I'm going to put the oxygen mask on me first, then I'm going to go try to help all the needy people or the people. Sometimes you just want to pay them money. Yeah. I'm not saying you're paying them not to be in your team, but I'm just saying that you might have to just donate money to them, because how much of a project can you have? I mean, seriously, you want to help. Yeah. You got to help your own family first, and then you can bless other people how you want. But a lot of times people get in this needy mode and they're only looking for limpers or needy people. Like if you're in a wellness business, they're looking for limpers, but the only people going across that stage are people running. There ain't no limpers. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because you're in a wellness product, you think you need someone that's got some ailment or something, but realistically, the people winning don't have any ailments. Yeah. So you're mesmerized. Somehow you got the wrong thing because you got such a great product. You might have a really, really unique product, but you're looking for people that are go-getter. They're not afraid. And that's by you putting that oxygen mask on yourself. You're going to go find people that really want to get out of their way. And who would have thought it's interesting how there was very negative flight attendants on the plane. And here you got a gal that's positive, and she's like, the guy you ran into. Yeah. Here's a gal who's so fired up. You would think she'd be the last one looking to get out of what she's doing because she loves it. Same with me. I love being a pro athlete. Who would even think that I'd be looking? Point is that's a very good message for everyone out there to think the people you don't think would ever do this are the ones that are looking the most usually. Yeah. They'll never tell you. No. They won't share their weakness with you. I'm trying to get, because you say you struggle connecting with people. Yeah. I'm trying. She don't. I don't. Well, she is a natural. I'm trying to see that in you today. Obviously, 30 years later, right? You have a different posture, and you've learned some different skills.
And I think too, like when we started network marketing, and I remember I used the analogy of you and you're in the boat with all the students. Yeah. And he'd be like saying, oh, it's hot. We got to get done. They're tired. And I'm like, listen, if you twist it and you make these guys have so much fun in the boat, they'll all come back. Mm-hmm. Guaranteed, without a doubt. Yeah. They're all obsessed with being you. Yeah. They're obsessed with being the best on the lake, for the next year. And people save so much money coming to him. Hey, I got to tell you a funny story. When I first met her, I'd put her in the boat with me, and she was laughing so hard. Every time I brought her in the boat, she could not believe people paid me to put him through that much abuse. This guy I'd have to stop her. I'd have to stop her and say, hey, you can't stop. You got to stop laughing, because I'm not going to have any more return business if you keep laughing at every time they do a face plant. Yeah, like I can't believe they pay you to do this. But when he shifted to having the fun in the boat, I think he realized that, I got to get a little bit more into the people. This is what they're paying me. I mean, some guy would pay him $1,000. He came for like 3 days. Yeah. And he was like some surgeon. He even flew on his private plane. Yeah. And the guy, the face plants he took, I thought, wow, how would someone ever in their life? But that was their sidekick. They loved it. They're obsessed with it. Well, growing up in the Midwest, they wanted to be the hot dog on the lake. Yeah. So not only did I teach, which I taught a lot of world champions,
but that was more like the parent sent the kid
Sure.
to be a world champion, and we teach them. But there was a lot of like a dentist. One of the tricks, if you ever seen it, you put you barefoot ski.
Mm-hmm.
There's a leather strap on the handle. You stick it into your teeth, and you let go with your hands, lift up one foot, take a picture, and put it on the dentist. The dentist wanted that in the back of his, chairs that he worked on the people because he wanted that photo.
Yeah.
But someone had to teach him. So that's like, the tricks. But I think going back to your question, that competitiveness of like, hey, if I got to learn how to do this, I can do it. To start talking, to open up my mouth. I put my dream ahead of me. So like I can remember one of my best guys that I've taught him to make $5 million. And now he's already a $1 million earner in this new venture we just started. And the way I met him was I was sitting at my son's batting practice and the coach was there. And I was like thinking, I should talk to this coach. I need to talk to the coach. But if he says this, what if, and I got to say this, and what if he says that, and I got to say that? So I'm like sweating. So I'm just I'm going through exactly how I feel. This is still to this day sometimes, but I know if you just put this one thing before I finish, action cures fear. If you just open up your mouth to anything, at least you get the ball started. And I say, hey, Chad, you got to take a look at something. I'm not sure, you're a coach and I'm a coach. I found about this product. You would be incredible at it. And it really can bless people with any kind of ailments they got. So this guy, the next student he has after I leave happens to be my friend Mike. And Mike's son can't pitch because his shoulder's bad. This guy heard what I said, tells him you should try this because this guy just came, says about his shoulder. Next thing you know, Mike comes to one of our meetings and he's making millions now with us. So, the coach never did nothing, but he led me to the guy that did something. But you see, because of my thinking now, there's two things that was going through my mind. One is, my dream is to at least have the opportunity to bring Gina home from work if she wants to. And if I don't open my mouth, I'm not going to be able to bring her home.
That's right.
The second thing going through my mind is I got to go home and face this woman. And she's going to say, did you talk to the batting coach? And if I say, yes, I talked to him, then I'm her hero.
Woohoo!
So that's why no matter what he said, if he had an excuse or not, I just wanted to be her hero. So I know that if I put that, if you got somebody at home that they're not going to be it in a negative way, but you could hear her positive encouragement, but she'll also call you out if you're not doing it. So in a loving way. So point is she's got other ways to encourage.
It's not that difficult.
She's got other ways to encourage men to do the thing to teach the women. She just taught a lady, you got to hear this. This is an incredible way that she encouraged me that I found incredible rock solid business people in our business from this one little bit of encouragement. It's way out of the.
How do you help this gentleman to
pick up the phone,
to step into a higher version
phone
of himself, to do the thing that was uncomfortable for him? How did you encourage him to do that without him feeling like pushed or made to be uncomfortable? What's your secret sauce?
Well, I think his dealing was he was nervous maybe he had people that he was not comfortable with calling. Yeah. And I was like, you're just calling them. They're going to say yes or no. Stupid. What's the big deal? So I would tell him, listen, did you call such and such? No. And I said, okay, well, if you go call them, I'll be here waiting on you. I was in bed. I'll be here waiting on you till you come back. And then he'd come back and he'd go, they're coming to our meeting. I said, yeah. Then I said, okay, now what about such and such? And he'd get up out of bed. I said, I'll be here when you get back. So I have this precious girl.
So you're trading sex for him.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm working it. Come on.
We just had a couple hit big rank after the lady said, my husband's not doing anything. She gave him the same advice.
She said,
bam,
I just don't know. I just don't know what to do. I just am really struggling with him getting on the phone. I said, come here. Her and I go to the side. I said, listen, do you know how to work it? And she goes, work it? I said, yeah, you work it. Have him make the call and tell him, I'll be here when you get done with the call. I'll be waiting for you in bed. I said, he will make that call so fast, boom, he'll be in bed. And she goes, oh my gosh, that's genius. I love it. I love it.
Now you see why we're moving everybody through the ranks, Eric.
Do it.
And I'm wondering why you only had 4 kids. It's like there's a lot of calls he had to make.
Yes. Well, we both make the calls, but yeah.
So,
but I had to encourage him.
Yes. And I do a lot of conversations with couples because there's different dynamics.
Right.
right? Sometimes one's the primary and one's the secondary,
Mhm.
or one's primary and the other one's just supporting. Sometimes somebody's building and they're not supporting.
Yeah.
Like they'll do
Yeah.
the opposite.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I'll punish you if you go build your business. I'll
Mhm.
punish you if you make that call.
Whoa.
And they have to deal with that.
Yeah,
Punish
that's
you and try
tough.
and figure
Yeah.
out that
It is tough to
dynamic.
build
Right.
building in secret.
Do you guys both build? Are you
Yes.
both
Yeah, we
builders?
both are.
build.
Everyone, we both got our, but we do it
And we
together.
both have different gifts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What are your
obviously.
gifts? What?
Yeah, well, Gina knows how to
what are the
start a
strengths?
conversation with anyone. There's no doubt about that. But I mean, I will say this much: that isn't my strength. But a lot of people feel sorry for me because I don't
They
know. They're
do.
like, "Do I need to sign this and fill this out for you?" Yes. Okay. So I mean, it's like sometimes if you talk, you're a, what do you call it? A matty chatty, or you chat too much.
Right.
Who you talking about? You talking about?
I'm not going to be saying much because I'm like, I want the paper filled out, or I want the
I
thing.
don't see that in
you know.
this conversation.
Yeah.
I see like you're ready to talk and
Yeah.
you're ready
Well,
to share.
I think what you're seeing
Today's
too-
probably a little different though, right?
Yeah, well, I think what you're seeing is that I've been a coach my whole life because, as you know, in the
Yeah, he's
Midwest,
so
with
good
all
at
the
that.
boats that you have to have, in order to barefoot ski, you have to have a 454 or a very fast outboard.
Mm-hmm.
And my parents never could afford that kind of boat. We had like 40 horse
Mm-hmm.
or 55 horse, whatever,
But you did it.
So what I did was I had to work always to be a coach.
Mhm.
So that came into my play. So me talking to you about what I know, like they would say to me in Atlanta at the World Congress Center boat show, Steve Merritt's going to be world champion, is going to be given points on how to do certain tricks or how to learn how to barefoot ski on your own boat at home. I'm confident. I know exactly what I'm talking about here because I had to get uncomfortable and not feel good at all about what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I can teach this to a T to anybody that
Mhm.
has that going on. So we're
So
talking
you-
about what
you-
I'm comfortable with
You
now.
took the strengths,
Yeah.
which
Right.
was coaching.
Yeah.
Somebody who was incompetent, help them become competent.
Yeah.
Show them how to do it, get past their limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
Because I have a belief system that I cannot barefoot ski.
Yeah.
It's actually, I've tried many
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
I
You got
face
the wrong
planted
coach.
many
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
And I went, this is a bad idea.
Yeah.
And like this sounds like an injury machine
Yes.
for me.
Yes. True.
So I'll drive the boat,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
or I'm gonna
Yeah.
watch.
Yeah.
Uh,
you just
what-
got to make sure you put the throttle all the way down.
all the way
Don't-
down. Oh,
and he
boy.
says, "Don't baby me."
Yeah, don't baby
I
me.
said, "No, I'm not
Whatever
babying
you do,
you.
don't baby
I'm
me
gonna
on that
whoop you
throttle.
up."
Nothing worse than slow speed on
Oh, yeah.
on your bare feet.
Because the water is like going. You like
I'm aware.
Drowning?
No, I've
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
tried every
Yeah.
approach.
We
there is
actually
to try.
guaranteed anyone
We
could
sure
barefoot
did.
in one day.
What?
And we couldn't
it
have
happened,
people
yeah.
we couldn't have people get hurt, like I said, or they wouldn't be able to come back.
Sure.
But I mean but another thing is that you're asking me why I'm comfortable talking to you is because once you know something and you're talking about something you've
Mhm.
done, I'm just telling you what I've done and I'm comfortable in the conversation of network marketing.
Yeah.
I've learned it.
So you learned it. You know it. You're comfortable
Yeah.
coaching
But
it.
still put me in the hobby of the hotel and say, go meet that person. I'm going to start sweating,
No, yeah, I'm uncomfortable too.
But
So
I'll go
she's
meet him.
not. She'll just walk right
what's
up.
your superpower?
I don't think I really have. I don't feel uncomfortable meeting people.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a huge gift.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, in our whole, we've always been like thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
Like we're at the boat show and he's got these boats sitting in the Atlanta boat show. It's snowing outside. How do you sell a boat when it's snowing outside?
Mhm.
It's difficult. So I said, I brought my bathing suit, my bikini and my high heels.
Put
Maybe
Gene in a
stand-
bikini.
and I didn't have the best figure, but I mean, I was going to give it a go. So
Oh.
I thought my mom is going to lose it. You're a Christian. How can you stand in the boat show in a bikini? I said, we got to draw some crowd. I literally
Yeah,
got
we
in my
did.
bikini and it was like a swarming of men.
Yeah.
They
They all
were-
wanted to come to the school.
all the men. We actually had
But we have a
hired-
problem.
This is the great
Yeah.
thing. We hired a videographer. Okay. We're at the boat show. We hired a videographer.
Yeah.
He's doing our whole boat show. Like it's kind of like for advertisement
Yeah.
and stuff. Some lady, he's videotaping me and
Yeah.
my bikini. She comes up with her purse,
And-
slams him on the head, screaming, "You pervert." But we had hired him. I mean, we got some good stuff.
Yeah.
My parents go to eat and it's like up in a
in the
loft,
World
really
Congress
up
Center
high.
up there, yeah.
And my mom and dad said, we weren't really happy when you did this, but we see what the crowd drew.
So you're willing to do stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're willing to go
Yes.
outside of the box. You're willing to
Get uncomfortable.
But
Get
she's a very
uncomfortable.
big encourager. I mean, she'll encourage everybody. If you don't have a person encouraging, I'm more of a competitor. I'm like, what the heck are you
You're
doing?
But I'm
Compete
very
and
competitive
coach,
too.
You know,
We're both
yeah.
competitive.
But she's
Sure.
in a loving way, more like remembering to encourage. I got to be told, remember, you got to encourage the guys.
who recruits more between the two
We
of
do
you?
the both. We do
Yeah,
the same.
probably the both,
We do the
yeah.
same. But I will say that you would think because she's comfortable talking with people that she would recruit the most. But going back to what I said, because I'm uncomfortable, it actually works in my favor.
Yeah,
If you just
absolutely.
open your mouth, you know one thing, you got a shot. If you don't open your mouth, there's no shot. I mean, you don't know what's
Right.
going to happen.
Right.
Nothing's going to happen if you don't open your mouth.
Yeah.
But if you open your mouth, you got a shot 50-50. They're either looking or they're not. And I will say that a lot of networkers, if they really want to become one, they got to get to past the point of, I'm not sure if I should talk to this person about the business side of the network. They get so wrapped up in the product side, no matter what product you're in, that the person never even knew there was a business.
Right.
First of all, because you didn't bring it up to them. And realistically, if you think about all the people that have a job or a career or a business right now, they didn't like dream their whole life that this is the business that I wanted.
Mhm.
The opportunity came their way.
Right.
So this is an opportunity. These different, in network marketing, if the person is looking and the timing is right, that is their moment to take advantage of an opportunity. So those are the ones that blow up your business.
Hey there, just a quick interruption, especially for network marketers. Whether you're just starting out or if you're ready to level up, GoPro Academy has just what you need to take your network marketing business to the next level. Get step-by-step training on how to get started or restarted the right way, and then get everything you need to earn 6 figures or more and become a network marketing pro. To learn more, just visit goproacademy.com. I've helped millions of people learn how to recruit, tens of thousands of people to reach 6 figures, and I've personally helped more than 1,000 people achieve 7-figure incomes and above in network marketing. I can help you too. Head to goproacademy.com today, and I'll see you there. Let me ask you about that specifically. There's a lot of people in network marketing. They're so passionate about their product. They believe everybody in the world should know about it. And they're very comfortable talking about the product.
Yeah.
Very comfortable. But when it comes time to talk about the business side, they choke. They clam up. They feel kind of icky. Like I was willing to benevolently share this product with you because it can help change the world. But the business, now they're going, ooh, I'm connected. People are going to view me different, whatever. They freeze up.
Right.
What advice do you have for people who get into that situation, and how do they get out of it?
Yeah. I think it kind of goes back to their comfort zone. They're worried about what the people think, but realistically, the people are more worried about what people think of them, not you. So I don't know why you're so hung up on that. And if you do what I did, I always put the dream in front of me. The dream's going to make me open my mouth. And if you really know from our experience, 32 years, the ones that get in for the business are the ones that are going to rock it. I mean, some people will say, well, I want to, this is a customer, but I hate to tell you, even if you got a great product, the person gives this incredible testimony about the product, they get off subscription or off auto ship. The person making $100 a week in the business, $200 a week, surely at $500 and $1,000 a week, never, ever get off subscription. So when you know this, I mean, sometimes they might not, sometimes they don't want to hear that. Like we're talking to them today. So if they're listening, those are the ones that are going to stay on subscription no matter what, because they are building it for their business. But you got to get past that, what people are going to think of you, because I will say since the pandemic, this is really good that more people are proactive about their health, no matter what, since the pandemic. They were much more proactive. But secondly, in the 80s and the 90s, everyone would be like, you're in an MLM or network marketing. It's totally, now it's like, is this an MLM? Okay, great. I mean, it's a whole different mindset. And
Complete
sometimes
shift.
people haven't gotten past that. They're still back in the 80s. Yeah, we're out there talking and everyone's listening. So don't put yourself in a box thinking, don't try to make your answer for the person that you're talking to. You're trying to assume what they're going to say. Put it out there. You don't know. I mean, in the same breath that we talk about a product, we say, hey, because this product has these great of testimonies, nobody knows about it, everybody needs it. That screams opportunity. So
That's
in my
right.
same breath, I'm talking about product and opportunity. So now it's all up to that person to tell me whether, I don't care if it's a super cold contact I just met at the hardware store, or if it's somebody that is just in my cell phone. I'm letting them know right off the bat what we got our hands on, and then let the person. So if you kind of get it out there right away, you don't have to worry because you set it all together instead of just, if you only talk about the product and then all of a sudden you sneak it in, that's kind of worse sometimes.
Right.
Than just laying it out there. You know?
I think there's just more emotion, and like, I never forget where I came from. So when I was at the airlines, I walked in one day and I got a 50% pay cut. Then I walked in another month later and I got my health insurance. We had to pay $300 out of our own pocket. Then maybe 2 months later, they took our parking lot away. And I said to him, if I keep working here, I'm going to have to pay them to go to work. But I think that if you don't forget where I got in this kind of industry for the money.
Yeah.
And I think if you realize that, most people, the majority, are looking for extra income. When you can do that, because what we were in, I didn't get a feeling off laundry soap.
Yeah.
Any of the products.
so many more.
It wasn't a feeling. I was in it really for the money to make that extra what I had gotten, the pay cut. Of course, all the pay came back and everything. But at that time, I knew that, gosh, we needed to make $500. We needed to make $1,000 a week to replace what I got missed. And I knew that it was possible. We could do it.
And a truck costs three times more than when the pandemic started.
Yeah.
So, and people's raises haven't been keeping up, and their kind of attitude was in the 80s and 90s that my job or my company, my boss is going to take care of me. Everyone has woken up. If they haven't woken up, they're still sleeping. I mean, something has gone wrong, because now everyone has woken up that they got to do something, and there is nothing better than a non-brick and mortar, no employees, no overhead.
Absolutely.
You can't get started. Most people don't even have
It's emotional.
Most people always dreamt to have their own business, but they never had the guts to start. The risk to reward for any network marketing company is so much greater because compared to the cost it starts to get in a conventional business. So if you talk to them the right way and help them, I haven't had one person I've ever shared that didn't want the end result of a network marketing company.
Sure.
Never.
Sure.
It was
That's a
always,
fact.
they tried to make an excuse, but it was what you said, their self-esteem. Usually it's themselves that's holding them back. They don't want their friends to know that they're whatever they picked in their career wasn't,
or they don't see themselves doing this.
Or that, yes.
Right.
This was not my model.
If they understand the industry and what it offers, and what you literally, the dollars that you put in, what you're going to get back is completely mind-blowing. But they just don't understand it. They don't know what it is, or they've got a concept that's completely in right field, right?
Right.
So once you explain it to them.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Gina. So you specifically, you guys have been involved for a long time. What are some of the biggest lessons you've learned personally over the course of your career that would be helpful for somebody that's listening?
Okay. Wow. For some reason, and I don't really know why, but I've had a lot of girls come at me saying, I copy their eyeshadow. I dress like them. I'm like, Steve, I don't even dress like them. She dresses slutty. I dress more classy, professional. But okay, so this couple literally called us down to their house, 4 houses from ours. And we sit there, and I thought, oh, they're just going to say we're ready to step it up, baby. No, it was not that. They were ready to chew me up and spit me out. So as we're sitting there, and Steve probably could see my whole demeanor, but I tried to stay strong and confident. And this girl literally just chewed me up and spit me out. I wear her same purple eyeshadow. I dress like her. I'm this and that. And I just literally sat there, my biggest learning lesson, and I ate crow. And probably for girls, because we're so much more emotional than a guy, we're more sensitive. You got to let crap like that roll off.
So, but
you literally
did you in the moment?
I did. Literally,
Really?
we sat there. I didn't say a word. We left, and I said,
It was a
we got
tough,
home.
tough talk.
Oh, it was
like chew you out.
It wasn't like a 10-minute
That's why
talk,
she's
Eric.
not winning.
It was
All because
like,
of Gina is
Right.
copying her.
it was like an hour and a
No.
half.
And-
talk.
and
Right.
it can
So-
happen. For some
so,
reason,
but-
the women they could get picked on that kind
The
of
mean
thing.
girl thing.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
The
Yeah.
competitive thing.
And probably just jealousy.
Yeah.
It-
And
it-
I
it
just
could be.
loved her
Yeah.
for where she was. I just
Did it
loved her
affect
for
the
who she
relationship?
was. No,
No.
we just keep going.
Really.
Keep
Yeah.
going.
So you're just like, but
You got to let
Sometimes-
stuff go.
Yeah,
because I
but-
knew I didn't do anything wrong.
but is
And you say you're sorry.
if you kind of allow somebody to like run you over,
Right.
aren't they going to keep doing it?
No.
At some point,
she
at some point,
didn't.
she
No,
didn't. She
no,
just needed
she
to get it
didn't.
off her
She
chest.
just
That
got
was
it off her chest, and that was it. Yeah.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
we learned a lesson years ago when we were grinding it out here, learning in those 3 years we weren't
Mhm.
doing what we wanted to have. Our upline used to always say, "You want to be rich, or do you want to be right?"
And that is something
So
that
we
he
really-
always would say to me because, us girls
I would say that to her
are
all the
more
time.
like, the way I feel between him and I, we need to be more right or be heard. And I think that when he said that to me, do you want to be right or do you want to be rich? And I don't even remember what circumstance it was.
Yeah, I
And
know.
I literally was like, he is so right. This is what a waste
All right.
of energy and time.
So
Yeah.
back to that
Yep.
that incident. You just took it, moved forward. She needed to get it off
Well,
her
it wasn't
chest.
the first time.
She did.
The last time, I should say.
Yeah. So if somebody tried to have that same conversation with you today,
Oh, I would
Some-
completely listen and I would completely say, I'm sorry. And I would just let it go and move on because
really,
it's just something that someone's dealing with and you have to just walk them through. You have to let them know I'm no threat to you.
I would have a hard time.
Yeah.
Like if somebody was like, if somebody was doing
Yeah.
my wife or whatever, I'm just like, hey.
Yeah. And I've actually recently I had a girl come to me and said that so-and-so said you're going to take all her glory in recognition.
Mhm.
And I said, but have I ever
Mhm.
got up and spoken that I did all the work, even though I'm by your side? And she said, no. And I said, then let it go
Mm.
because it's not true.
All right.
But sometimes people were going to throw stuff to stumble you. And it's, whether it's the way they were raised, the way they were taught, their insecurity of themselves,
So you just decided,
jealousy, whatever it is.
decided to
There's
have-
so many things,
you decided to have compassion and just let it go,
let it
roll
go,
through it.
roll through
All
it.
right. Give
I
me
mean,
a-
we've been told at conventions that you have to calm down.
Yeah.
You're too excited.
Too fun.
You can't use silly string.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
you
yeah.
can't. I mean, we're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But that's who we are. We
Right.
just love the energy
Yeah.
and especially at conventions, the energy and the
Sure.
community with the people it's
Yeah.
amazing.
So give me another lesson. Something else that happened over just from your perspective. What's another lesson that was important that you that helped you
You got one
or
for me?
defined you
Yeah.
over the course of of your career? Maybe it was a defining moment. Maybe it was a difficult day. Maybe it was a big accomplishment, some realization, some kind of like, wow, this is like the real key
Mhm.
to success. Any of those things, if that triggers anything for you.
Try
You
to
think of anything?
Uh,
How about
well,
you?
There's so many things.
How about you?
It's
Give me a lesson that you've learned.
I mean, I think the best thing for a leader
Mhm.
is to not forget where you came from. Okay. So when you're talking to new people, they can't relate to Lamborghinis and, flying on private jets. And, sometimes you're talking a little bit too much money. So bring it down a little bit and let them know that you're not afraid to roll up your shirt sleeves as well. I mean, that's really how it's going to work. It doesn't matter how successful you are in the business if you want to keep going. Now, if you want to hit a certain level and that's where you want to stay and you don't want to go to the next level, then just start telling the people what to do. It's not till you're down there in the trenches, rolling up your shirt sleeves, willing to help them make the phone calls, help them to hit the next rank. And there's nothing of a better feeling, by the way, if you've never done one of these businesses before. First of all, the emotion of a product could be great. I like that. But I love the emotion of winning.
Mhm.
You win. And the great thing about this is everybody wins, not just myself wins. I like to help my friends win. And that sometimes is a better gratification when they win than when you win. It's even more emotional always, because a lot of the times, I mean, 85% of the people we work with never succeeded in networking, and they've hit millions. Out of 176 people we've helped make $1 million or more, 85% never were a network marketer. So I love that. Now, a lot of them, they all claim they are now, of course, you know what I mean? But when they met us, they weren't.
Right.
So I love that accomplishment. And I love teaching those people too, because they're not like acting like they know everything. You know, now it is a little difficult sometimes when people don't understand system and they don't understand duplication, because they've never done a network. You kind of want to be your own person, but you still can be your own person, but you got to fall into that duplication pattern that so many people, I couldn't tell you how many people in networking do not understand the power of keeping it simple and the same. And they think that like an opportunity meeting, if you're like, you know, I don't want to pick on folks that very educated, but they seem to want to make something easy hard.
Yeah.
Because they can't believe that when they go on to an opportunity meeting, that it's the same, that they should be on there. But they miss the point. They need to be at the event, or they need to be in person on the Zoom, for instance, with guests pointing to them saying, look at this. Like we made millions and millions over a 15-year span, watching the exact same video every night for 15 years, acting like it was the first time we seen it. Did you see that? Did you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. And many people think that, well, I shouldn't do that because I've already seen that movie, or I've already seen that presentation. No, it's not about you. It's for you.
Who taught you to keep it so fresh? Because it's easy for people to get bored.
Yeah.
I'm bored with this. I'm bored with that.
I don't know. I think our mentality is, we don't want to make life complicated. Like, you know, in any other career that you're in, you've got to be really good at it. Okay. For instance, flight attendant. If you don't know what you're doing, people are going to get hurt. Okay. Me, I was a sales rep after being a pro athlete. And if I didn't know my pitch, the people that are going to eat my lunch. Okay. So I love this because, okay, if you're a doctor, you better know what you're talking. If you're a dentist, people are going to lose teeth. If you're a home builder, the house could be crooked. Here, the worse you are, the better it is. You don't have to be perfect. You can always say, hey, I can get you in touch with my upline. I just got started. I don't know that yet, but you can get started. We love that fact that you don't have to be perfect, and you don't have to be doing homework every night before you have a case as an attorney, or, you know what I mean? Like, there's none of that here. This is like, hey, we just get to do the exact same thing, keep it simple. And then we get to go on trips and travel and goof around because you don't have that stress. Like, there's absolutely, pretty much, when you win and succeed here and you have leader backed by leader generating income, the stress goes so down to zilch. And let's think about when you start. Now you don't have any leaders or no money coming in, but you really don't have stress because you didn't go to the bank, take out a big loan. You don't have all the people, creditors coming after you. You're not stressful that way. You're like, if you could just act like a cool cat when you start, don't try to look desperate. Even if you're broke, you got to somehow not be a desperate person trying to prospect, because people can see right through it. You got to somehow get that out of you.
Well, we've been sued by major people. And
Why?
you wouldn't even know. Like, you wouldn't even know from our mouth or our face. We are the same. Even when we got...
what happened?
Okay.
Like going from a company to a company?
Yeah, company. We've only signed up twice.
Yeah.
But the second one we signed up got sued by the first one. We weren't that big in names, but we would go to these big, it was big, $500,000. Most people wouldn't be able to pay to do that, but we were able to do it. But point is, we're just defending ourselves because we didn't do much. I mean, we hadn't done anything in 7 years. Yeah.
And then,
so
because we started doing something, their businesses tanked.
But I think it's a good lesson for people, because we would go to this deposition and go to our convention the next day. No one even knew we were there.
Game face on.
No one knew. Nobody knew the whole time we ever did it. I mean, so, and we've had different type lawsuits and everything too. But the point is that,
Hang 10,
you know, you don't,
from his ski school.
They thought that the bare feet looked like their bare feet.
Yeah.
You know.
But they saw they saw us at the
potential. They saw, oh my gosh, these guys are going somewhere.
These guys are
Let's squash them when we can. You know.
But again,
we still won it, but it's still a lot of work.
On it's, you know.
But point is that, you know, you're going to go through some stuff in your life. Yeah. You can't show it in this. You got to push through a bit. Be a little more leather to your skin, and I think maybe too that people they don't, like, if they put a lot of money into it, they have more of a
where they don't have that give up spirit,
Yeah.
where because of it's such a low startup that they have more of a give up spirit.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Right.
we are like going to a meeting in Tampa or something. I
Yeah.
don't even know where we were going.
Yeah.
We get on 95. Our van completely breaks. The hood is smoking. I look at him and I go, we got to get to this meeting. We
No
grab,
cell phones back then.
No, we grab our hanging clothes. We grab our bag, my purse. We start running down I-95.
Yeah.
I've got my thumb out. Some guy is flying and he pulls over and he goes, he like threw open the car door and he goes, get in, hurry up before somebody sees this. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, Steve, our kids are with a babysitter. No one knows where we're getting in this car. And so we're driving with this guy and he's like, where do you want to go? And we're like, to the Palm Beach airport. We were like 7 minutes from there. We're going to rent a car. But see, most people would have said, oh, our car doesn't work. But no, we are determined. We're going to get there for our team. So, but a lot of people would say, no, my car's on the side of the road. No, we didn't care. Take the car.
What I'm hearing is obstacles don't really matter.
Obstacles
you're going to
don't.
find
Yes.
Any business you're in.
use the obstacle.
Think about it.
You go through it with a positive attitude. You get smashed. You get criticized. You just keep a smile on your face. Keep moving. How many people on your team today currently?
Well, we've been in where we're in now for about 16 months. Started just me and her, and over 71,000
71,000 people.
Months.
How many have you personally sponsored between the two?
Probably about 130.
130 turned into 71,000.
Yeah. Yeah. So you think about all that's underneath those people, and we got about a third probably that are seriously
And let me tell you, it was
building it.
phone call by phone call by phone call, because when we left our last organization, it pretty much tanked. And we tried our hardest to make it happen. And then we just looked at each other and we literally, because we're Christians, we started praying for 1 year, the right company, the right product, the right ownership, and God's favor. And we knew absolutely when we saw this product that was everything that we had prayed for.
Right.
There was completely no more discussion. We were like, it was done.
Right.
Well, that's easy for her to say. This guy still had to make them phone calls.
Right.
And it don't matter who you are calling people at what level of success you've had or didn't have. And we were down, if you kind of heard through that.
Sure.
We were down and we were able to pick ourselves back up. So that's very interesting. And I had a doctor friend of mine say, I tried that company with another doctor team and it will absolutely not
Never
work.
Yep.
So like if somebody else has somebody, I have people all the time, even today, saying such and such told me this isn't going to work or this and that. I'm like, okay.
What was your comment
My
back to the
doctor is,
doctor?
this is a very good friend of mine. Okay. And I said, watch me. Watch me. All right. So you got to like have some attitude. I don't care who you are. You could pull it out of yourself. And I think a big thing too is if you look at what you won in life like if you've ever won anything, most people have done something. I mean, even back in their gymnastics or something, did you win a tournament or did you do something in your life? Spelling bee. I mean, I never won a spelling bee. Don't worry. But
no, he did not win a spelling bee.
But you know what I mean? Like something you won.
We giggle because, Steve spelled that.
Yeah. I have.
Well, we're okay. It's fun.
Where we were at, they never even have a presentation. So we had to make the presentation, and the guy that doesn't know how to spell is making the presentation. But at least they know it's me when they see the words.
Now we got to go back to a story. Okay, we're in the Atlanta Boat Show. We made this beautiful banner, and it's hanging up there. Right. So our booth is here. We got 3 or 2 boats. We're selling the whole store. It was just filled with
picture
clothes.
like yesterday.
Yeah. The lines of people. He was signing autographs. We have a video playing of him with his, it was like a hot dog video, we called it. And
Gina's
then
walking around in her bikini.
And you had a blooper video that you played after that. But so here we are.
Some lady came up to me.
Yeah.
And says, I see your sign up there. It says, ski with professionals, but you spelled professionals wrong.
So that's when we go all the way back to the spelling.
Yeah, back to the 80s.
1987.
Yeah,
is that?
yeah.
So,
but that's okay.
Here's where I want to get to 160,000-ish. And you sponsored how many? About 130 or something like that?
No, it's 71,000.
71,000. Sorry.
130 people.
130 people, 71,000.
Yeah.
So what I want to get to is how do you turn 130 people into 71,000?
Yeah.
Tell me about the systems and the idea of duplication that worked in order to be able to make that happen. Because you could say it's product, you could say it's timing, you could say it's compensation plan, all that stuff. I don't personally believe that.
Yeah.
What I believe is professionals keep things simple, find systems, hold those systems in place, and then create duplication within their team, and then develop leaders.
Right.
So in those 71,000, I keep getting the numbers wrong. How many of those people would you say are leaders? That you would consider leaders, approximately.
Yeah. Not as many as you'd like.
Right. Under 100?
Yeah. Yeah. Under
Yeah.
100.
Under 100 of them, leaders, quote unquote,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it, different levels of leadership. Some of them are earners and they're not leaders yet.
Right.
They needed to become leaders. So how do you take, and how many of the ones that you personally sponsored are in that 100?
Yeah.
How many?
Well, we just got awarded the #1 couple to help the most personals hit the highest rank.
So how many personals hit the highest rank?
About 20.
20.
Yeah.
So 20 out of the 100 and some.
Yeah.
Right.
Did something.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of people did a little.
Yeah.
And then you were able to turn that into 71,000 people in a reasonably short period of time.
Right.
So talk to me about the importance of simplicity, systems, duplication, and how you actually do it.
Right.
If you can break it down for another person, what are the tea leaves that somebody could read and say, I can use that in my business?
Right. Well, I think the first thing that we started was when we started making the calls, we called every single person. If we didn't have their number, we would message them, hey, give us a call, and and they would call us, or here's our number. Yeah. But we called everyone. And that's the power right there, because it's kind of like
versus what?
When you walk in an airplane and someone says to you, welcome aboard Delta Airlines. I mean, what do you feel? You feel like, oh, great, she's happy to be here. No, welcome aboard Delta Airlines. Do you know where your seat is? It's like, I'm just kind of using that as a little scenario.
So
but
when you say you called,
someone,
who are you calling?
Hey, I did this on purpose.
Our phone.
No. Who were you calling?
We did this on purpose. We did
Hold
this
on.
on
I just got to get clear.
Yeah.
Who were you calling?
And
Prospects or people on the
in
team?
my phone.
No.
People in
this
my
is at
phone.
the very. She's taking us back to
where
zero.
we started.
You're at zero.
Because I think people need to know.
Yeah.
We did calls, and calls are powerful.
Yeah.
Because like when you talk to me and you hear the energy in my voice, whoa, Merritt's got something going on. I got to check it out.
Yeah.
So you called all of your prospects.
We personally did it because in this day and age, I wanted to prove to at least my baby boomer friends that you didn't have to go onto the internet and get your prospects. I'm not saying that people can't do that. I'm just saying there's a lot of people that can't. So I wanted to just make the calls or see the people in person. And I will tell you, in this day and age right now, it works.
Yeah.
It works really good. And I'm not saying that I didn't use a text to say, hey, I got to talk to you, but the call was when I pitched them. It wasn't a text to pitch them. Like this same doctor that said it won't work, he got in my business and said that it's still not working. I texted 200 people. I got no response. I said, I never told you to text.
Right.
I told you to call the people. So they're looking for that shortcut. What's the shortcut I can post on social media, think I'm going to get a shortcut. I'm not saying that that's not a great down the road or when you're ready. But point is that if you know that making a phone call works, and one thing about online, as far as social media calling and prospecting, is if you never had them years of experience, 10,000 hours offline, in person, looking them in the eye, some rolling their eyes back. Like I can tell even on a phone call or on a social media that you're rolling your eyes back from what you're saying to me. So I'm picturing you in person. So if you don't have that experience, a lot of times you got to get that experience before you start doing all the stuff online, because you're going to have to go through probably more people because you don't even know that there's no relationship with them. But we just made phone calls out of our cell phone.
So let me ask. So 131, you said?
Yeah.
131 people. How many people did you talk to between the two of you to end up with 131? Just out of curiosity, generally, because you have a lot of experience, 30 years or so.
I actually
you say, okay,
have
we're going to go.
A lot of no's.
No,
I have to
at
be
this
honest.
point in
in
life, I was blown away. I mean, we
Like
used
200, 300,
maybe 200 at the most.
Really?
At the most. I mean, there are more people open and looking
absolutely
than I've ever seen in my life.
Hmm.
It is like slam dunk. They're open and they're looking.
And we build a lot of credibility with people. Like, so when we would call, they said, whatever you're doing, Steve, I'm in.
Yeah.
Because we
only signed up twice in our life.
So they knew our hearts.
If
they
you're
knew who
somebody
we
that's
were,
running
they knew our
around doing
work
stuff, you
ethic.
might have to work a little harder. Or if you don't have credibility like we did when we were in our 20s, you know, you have to gain it. So don't be so
You gotta
hard on
work it.
yourself. But I told you how to save your time. Go find a couple
Mm-hmm.
that's been around for a little longer. They got a little more friends that have some credibility. So those young folks, they can win and succeed and have incredible results.
All right. So talk to me now.
Yeah.
You did that. So the lesson I get from that is in person, actual phone call, face to face is even better, but it's different than hiding behind text.
Yes.
Text can get you scale. But it's kind of rude to call somebody now before you text them. You got to kind of text them first. Do you have a second?
I didn't do that.
Do you have a minute? You didn't do that.
No.
You just
Never
called
did.
them straight
Called
up.
them.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
And I left a good message if I had to, but I mostly didn't tell them what I'm doing. I'm just saying,
Yeah, just
I
call
got to
me.
talk to you.
We literally hit the top rank in 23 days.
Yeah.
And
It was a blur.
But we didn't even know we hit it.
Yeah.
We're like actually going out to dinner.
How do you know how to hit a top rank in a company in 23 days? You don't even know.
I mean, we would
No,
just,
you know,
we just
Just go.
made calls. We just worked. You know, the person hung up. We made another one.
So talk to me about systems. How did you sign up these 131 people? How long did it take you to sign the 131 up?
Okay.
About
Most of them all signed up quick.
No,
I mean, it was pretty fast.
over 100. I mean,
in the first 90 days,
90
let's
days.
say.
90
Yeah,
days. Yeah.
90 days.
So most of them in the
Majority.
first 90 days.
Let me help you on this system thing.
Yeah,
I know
please.
how important a system is, but I will say that I kind of wrote off what we had for a minute because I didn't want to get, meaning that it wasn't very good. It was a bit of a hodgepodge system that had gone on for a little bit. In fact, I even was part of it because I said, okay, what are we going to use? And they said, the upline said, well, we're going to use this site. And it said, be working. And there was a bunch of bumblebees and everything on there. Like, my guys are not going to go for this. So we like threw something together. It was completely hodgepodge, sites, everything. Somebody had even passed away that was the head person of the Facebook group. I mean, it was like, that's all we used. Okay. But point is that the reason why I bring this up, Eric, is because we didn't get hung up on trying to have everything perfect. Like some people want to get so perfect on the system that they missed it. Like they try to change it. They want to have it exactly
Better
their
just to
way.
start.
Yeah.
Just start
And
and,
there's a
use
time.
what you got. Use what you got.
What's the fundamentals of the system?
Yeah, the
Here's
fundamentals
something
today.
to show someone.
Yeah.
You know, introduce someone to
Yeah.
a tool or to
Yeah.
an event or to
Yeah.
a person.
The best thing we have going for us now, which we have an in-tune, perfectly run system now that's running, but it took us a little bit of time. But the point is that I didn't waste to do it. Like some people want to start their own Facebook group, right? That's a lot of work because you got all kinds of chatty people on there that really aren't building their business, and
It consumes your time in the wrong way.
You got to get out there with the people, whether you're on the phone or in person or on the Zoom. So the answer to your question is, you need we use a page. We use a one product landing page. So that landing page has all the answers for the newest person. Like if you're someone like me that I don't need a lot of information because I didn't go to school, right? So that's how I became a world champion. I can watch 2 videos, get excited. But a doctor, he might need to see, and I've never sponsored so many doctors in my entire career,
Amazing.
32 years, that I have in the last 16 months. I'm not going to say all personal, but a
Right.
lot of them.
Right.
And there's enough information on our landing page that has enough for the doctor. And you know, remember, if you think about almost every network company I've ever been in, it wasn't a team product landing page. It was the corporate page. The problem with the corporate page, and I'm not trying to pick on them, is you get
Boring.
lost in the minutia of first of all, the doctor looks to
Too
see
much
this
stuff.
product you're talking about, and they see the free trips, or they see me and my friends counting our money before they get to the product. That turns them off. It can't have any network marketing appeal. So that's what this is. And it's for anyone. The second thing is we have a Zoom weekly system. Now, at first we only had a Wednesday and a Saturday, and we blew it up to the point now we add throughout the week, and we have a Spanish one. And now we're opening up into different time zones
So
around the world. So they point
conversation to
the page
page
to the Zoom.
to the Zoom.
Yeah.
Do you sometimes put a page to a 3-way to the Zoom, or
Yeah.
page to
Yes,
Zoom
of course.
to
Right.
Of course.
3-way after?
Yeah. Either way, all those can fit in. The 3-way can fit in anywhere there, but definitely the 3-way to help them. But it doesn't have to be. Some of them don't need it, but it's always available to do it. Now, if you as a leader or want to be a leader, you got to get up to speed. I mean, I hate to say my top dog never went to school either. All right. So he just happened to watch all the videos and he sounds like me when he's talking.
Yeah.
So if you just can start listening to your
He's
upline,
teachable.
got to be
He's
humble,
hungry.
got to be teachable. And it's
They
amazing.
dropped out, him and his wife, at 10th grade.
And he's got like a
So
voice that,
anyone.
like, when you hear me talk, you know that, do you want optimal health? And would you like to take an advantage of an opportunity lifetime? No, I don't want optimal health. Okay, is your wife around? I mean, you know when I leave that the answer you gave me was really dumb.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And your wife might even told you. So whether you do it
Why'd you
or
say
not,
that?
and that's what you got to get. You got to somehow dive into that when you're prospecting. So anyways, you point to the one product landing page, then you talk to them either on, if you had to do a 3-way or not, but you get them on the Zoom and you let the leaders do the work. At first it was just Gina, myself, but if you understand leadership, you do not want to be the person. That's another reason that leaders, they don't make it. Well, I'm not going to say they don't make it. They might be successful, but they're wrapped up in that company, that their business, because they do all the work. They want to be the superstar.
Mhm.
We don't want to be the superstar.
No.
We want everyone else to be the superstar. We're just the
spotlight.
brains behind those superstars. So that is a very big lesson for a lot of leaders to learn. They try to be the person. They want to be the person on every Zoom. We don't want to be on the Zooms. We started because I don't want it to mess. I want to make sure the message gets correct to begin with. But once I hear people repeating the same message, they're on the Zoom.
Right.
Same thing with our convention. We've already had our own team convention. At the time, it was the biggest convention the company had ever had in 19 years. Now, at that convention, there were a lot of myself and Gina on the stage. Not that we didn't put everyone up there, but I wanted to make sure that the message come across exactly properly.
Yep, loud and clear.
To everyone, so that now we've got a team of leaders that really know what they're talking about. And that's really what you want to be looking for when you're looking for them leaders, because you want to highlight and lift them up, as long as they're coachable and staying humble and not acting like, hey, now this is me, because we all are in this together, which is interesting. So that's how a system really needs to work.
It's a well-oiled machine.
We do have our own team.
What happens? What happens when strong people come in and say, we want to do it different?
Well, I mean, one thing about today's day, which is a little bit different than when we started in the 80s, where you could isolate your team.
Yeah.
Nobody knew anything else was going on in other groups or any other networks. You could isolate, okay? Now everybody knows. So I've kind of learned to be flexible, because if you're kind of a Gestapo, or you're kind of a person that, oh, you're going to do this, and you just tear them up, you're going to lose a friend. They're going to go away anyway. So love on them, do your best. But usually those aren't the ones I put on the stage or the Zoom, because because when you highlight somebody, then that person is going to be seen in your, on your page, and people are going to go search already for their social media and stuff. So they have to know that if you're not going to follow, all of us are on the same page. We all are a team, though. If you have something that you want to contribute, we're open to listening to every single person. Of course, somebody's got to make the last decision, but sometimes it's better to be, agree to not disagree, disagree, agree not to disagree.
Have at least a good front face.
Yeah.
It's like negotiate on the substance and let everybody have their own style.
Yeah.
And like you try and get as much so you don't confuse the
I've seen
team.
that so far in our short time, but that's only a short time. But most people understand that it's more power as a team, all of us together, than trying to do something on your own. Because once you're on your own, now you got to be the person. We don't want to be the person. That's why we got all the team. We want everyone else to be the people running it. So that's
I think
very
a
powerful.
very big factor is in our system, we are lifting up all the other speakers and leaders.
Yeah.
They might not be the perfect speaker or leader, but we're building them up where they see it's not a Steve and Gina show. And that's probably the biggest thing in a system, that it is a team, a complete team. Because a lot of people try to be like, we could be it. We could be just,
easy.
You could be like, so much Steve and Gina.
Yeah.
But we are not that way, because if you don't build up and develop leaders, I mean, where do you want your business to go? Little bit or massive?
Yeah. Or short-term or long-term.
And within our system, we have personal development. We've got our book of the months. We've got everything that people need to know, old school, and a lot of them do it on audio. So that's no problem, but we're teaching them the leadership skills. So we're all like,
how important is the personal development in your group?
Probably more important than knowing how to build the business.
Really?
Because knowing how to build a business is like, and the reason why we do the thing that she said too, is that, remember when I went back earlier, that sometimes it can get boring if it's the same presentation, but when you have a plumber this week, a doctor next week, a manager the next week, then me and her come on. So it's like, you got all these different personalities. So it kind of brings it into, even though it's the same presentation, different people sound different when they're presenting.
It takes great emotional maturity to do something you've done a million times like it's the first time you did it.
Mhm.
So like you think about somebody who's been playing Phantom of the Opera on Broadway for
Right.
20 years, 8 shows a week.
Mhm.
How do they and the one person seeing it for the first time, how do they give that performance?
Mhm.
And you're like, well, that doesn't really apply to our business. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was taught early. I had a great mentor who taught me that if you treated every single event like it was the last, the biggest,
absolutely.
the best, and you needed to be nodding
Yep.
with the presenter and you needed
Right.
to be taking notes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
even though you've heard the presentation 8,000 times, you need to be nudging the person next to you. You need to have the right enthusiasm. You need to be
Mhm.
introducing people to others, doing all these things.
Right.
I learned these fundamentals of bringing fresh energy into very repetitive stuff. And if you're immature in our business, you can you'll just start adding things just to do it.
Mhm.
And pretty soon you've lost duplication, you've lost simplicity, and you did it because you got bored. The prospect is the same.
Yeah.
You felt like you needed to add more stuff to it. The
The power of the system is amazing because like a couple weeks ago, one of our speakers, Kevin and Emily, they're doing our opportunity Zoom and it's like clockwork.
yeah.
And she goes, well, everyone's wondering, how does this product work? But do you know how your cell phone works?
Yeah.
No, you don't. So it's like every time
And a lot of
you
leaders
hear,
grab that, like
Just-
it's a very easy
yeah.
way to help on your next conversation when that comes up.
We
But
love it.
We might have never said that, never have, so that's interesting.
I can remember that one time we were at the Palm Beach Gardens Mall. We were sitting at a restaurant and it was a very sharp girl and her husband. I think he owned Cheney Brothers.
Yeah.
We're sitting at this restaurant and the gentleman was a CPA.
Yeah.
And what did he say to you?
He actually
This
said,
is the power of
he
it.
tried to take over the conversation at lunch with all
Yeah,
the
yeah.
other prospects. And
It was
said,
like,
guys,
8 of
I know
us.
how these things work.
Yeah.
They're repetitive. You keep doing the exact same thing. Like he's kind of
But he
like,
was being a
it's a
smart
Debbie
aleck.
Downer. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, kind of like being a CPA, huh? Because that's what his career was. I mean, and so
But
point
right?
is that keeping it simple and duplication, you got to grasp it. You got to understand that's the way the business works. You want that.
Yeah.
That's the
But
simplicity.
He
behind
might
it.
not have went to college, but God definitely blessed him with wisdom. Like
Some
for
street
that,
smarts.
yeah, for the street smart, because that was such a powerful. And the guy's like, yeah, you're right. So in a conversation.
One thing that you guys say is be predictable, no drama.
Yes.
What does that mean by be predictable, no drama? And how does that affect your business?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing that people are looking for when you're sending somebody to an opportunity Zoom is you want to make sure, like I've had a lot of uplines. I'm not saying they're my sponsors, but uplines or even meetings I went to that you brought them to a meeting and it was so strange that you didn't even get what it was all about. It was wild how crazy it was. I mean, I'm saying to myself, how did they even get to that rank? Right? One thing about us and one thing that we teach our team is you want to be predictable. So when the people come on, you're saying something they know they're not going to be embarrassed. You put a new guest on,
Mhm.
they better be saying the exact same thing that everybody can relate to. And we know from experience that there can be a lot of drama if you just start saying whatever you want. We've had to have meetings till like 2:00 in the morning because people from stage will say something crazy weird to the audience, but that'll offend people. Like you got to be really on your game to not offend the people. I mean, hopefully you're the kind of person that doesn't want to offend people, but there are
Right.
people like that.
There are.
So you just have to be predictable, and that's how you really gain the respect of everyone because they know, okay, Steve and Gina are going to be on that Wednesday night opportunity meeting. We know we can put as many guests as we want. They always say the same thing. They're always on their game. They're fired up. They'll be on time. Even being on time is predictable. You need to make sure
Right.
you're showing up. If you say you're going to Dallas, you're there. If you say you're going to go here to Las Vegas, we're here. You know what I mean? Like you need to make sure that you're accountable. That maybe that's why when we picked up the phone 16 months ago, people knew we were that kind of person.
Right.
That kind of goes by however why can't you pick up the phone and you didn't go and you went to school and nobody listens to you? I don't know.
Right.
But I just know that I pick up the phone and people at least will listen. I'm not going to say that they all signed up. Some were negative, like I said, my doctor friend and other people. When we first started in the industry, all of our family were pretty much negative about it. We used to call their friends that we met through their friends, and they were like, how come you're calling our friends? Like, oh my gosh, well, I thought they were kind of our friends now because we met them, but we won't stop call your friends. But now they love us because they're all hitting the highest rank. It's like, at least her sisters and my brother-in-laws are at the highest rank in the last 2 companies, which says a lot about her growing up. A lot of times when people hear that, her and her 2 sisters have been at the highest rank, both of our companies. And they say, oh, so it's really Gina that's the brains behind it. Because it's interesting how those two, you rarely meet 3 sisters at the highest level twice. That tells you how their parents brought them up.
Yeah,
like she was talking about,
So let me ask you guys this kind of final question. I'll ask both of you. And this has been great. We come from the same school.
Yeah.
As far as hard work, determination, stay focused on fundamentals. Systems are critical. If it's all about you, then it has to always stay about you. You got to figure out a way to develop leaders within your organization. At this stage of life, because I know the answer for myself, at this stage of life, having had the experience, having had success, financially, if you wanted to, I'm sure you could chill.
Yep.
And a lot of people our age, that's their goal. Is to chill.
Yeah.
So I'll start with you, Gina. Why are you running as hard as you are right now? Why are you building a new empire? What's the future hold? And what's driving you to do it?
Well, I think probably when we went to our last convention, our entire team and Steve and I made a commitment to step it up. So step it up. Yeah, step it up. Like everyone in the room that came to our room that, like we had our own team meeting, they're all like, oh, let's step it up. Yeah. But I think that because it's not, if you're having fun on your journey, it's not like, I'm not sweating. I'm not building a dock. I'm not building a house where it's hard work. That's hard work. Yeah. This is not really hard work. Maybe you're going to get a little uncomfortable at times, but the rewards that you get are so phenomenal. And for him and I, it's like, I know where I came from. I know I got a 50% pay cut at work. I know we had to make this work. It had to happen. So I think that I know that when I meet the next family, maybe the wife is engaged and the husband is kind of like just watching. And I tell her, hey, keep doing it. When he sees the money coming in, baby, he'll be all on board. But it's almost like we're obsessed. I don't want to say addicted, obsessed, but we are. We're maniacs. We're complete maniacs because we love helping and teaching and building people. And because we remember where we came from. We needed this so bad. And it was something that we had took time and learned the basics, learned the fundamentals, did skill set, read a lot, learned a lot. Didn't think that we still, to this day, every Saturday, we have a teaching at 1:00. And him and I both, not just me, not just him, we both have a notepad and a pen. Why? Because you're always going to learn something from someone. And remember, when you write something down, you remember it 90%. But it's just little things that they say, little things that they did, little obstacles. Or one of our guys, Mike, he says, you know what? You meet this person, but then they're not interested. So you curve it around. I mean, we learn things like that. You shift. You're running into someone. They say, well, I'm not interested. Then you shift this way. It's like, you don't take it to heart. If people don't want it, maybe they don't see it. Maybe it's not the timing for them. You don't ever take them off your list until someone says, do not call me anymore. Yeah. But I mean, I don't even think we've ever in our whole industry have had someone say, don't call me anymore. Yeah. Because we leave a good feeling. Our hearts are right. Our hearts are pure. We know what we're doing in this industry. And I'm telling you, it's like taking it by storm. And it's amazing the people that are from our system that have gotten engaged in building and what they're building. It's like an empire.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Steve.
Okay. Well, we were praying for that year for our phones to ring. So we want our phones to ring. It was really boring going through the rest of your life without your phone ringing. So we want it. Now, sometimes Gina will say, I'll say to her, oh, this person's calling me, and I'm kind of might be a little bit negative, not should be, but I could be. And she's like, remember, you prayed for your phone to ring. And I'm like, you're right. And I can't wait to talk to him. So I mean, I don't think there's some people that want to just ride out to the sunset and not do anything, but there's other people that, hey, I want to make a difference in as many people's lives as I possibly can while I'm still around.
If a family can't even buy, let's just say they want to go get an Escalade, a nice Escalade, even if it's a GMC, Yukon or whatever. Come on, to put all their little children in to be safe.
Yeah.
You know, it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
So we know that with what we have, we can do it for help people with less stress, get where they need to go. There is dreams. People got to dust them off, really.
Yeah.
You know, is after the
pandemic,
they got to dust their dreams off, because this network marketing industry is so on fire now. Like, for us, we're just getting started.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm 61, but I feel like I could run circles around 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, I don't know where you're going. Do you like just sitting and counting your money? Not me, man. I get so passionate when the person texts me or they call me and they go, oh my gosh, I just broke whatever rank it is that the person broke. And I'm like, you are so amazing. You take a single mom and you can completely shift where she's going and what she's got, because she's not alone. She's got us, where we connect arms together, get them to the finish line.
So let's go back to the very first time that I saw the circles. Okay. I seen the circles. My eyes lit up. I start talking to people. I love what I'm doing as a pro athlete at the time.
Yeah. Loves it.
I have to admit, my biggest calling, you're going to love this, since I've been in network marketing, is to change people's perception of what we got our hands on. Nobody to this day, the most public, you'll interview big business people and you'll say, what would you do if you lost everything? And they say, I would start a network marketing company. And it's blown. The other people can't even believe, they think it's a joke, but they were serious.
Yeah.
So that is a very big goal for me to this day, especially right now. I mean, I didn't think, with as down as it was 16 months ago, that could happen. But now I'm seeing in not only our business, but in other companies, this explosion happening. So I really believe I've got more of a vision than I ever did before, that we can help change people's perception. And it has to do with being classy. It has to be with doing the right thing. It has to be with not throwing people under the bus, not being rude to somebody, being positive. And really the message of this whole industry is the message of hope. Because this gal on a plane, even though she loved doing what she's doing, she could see at 30, somebody doing what she's doing 30 years longer than her, 60 years old, in the tube. That's her in the tube, if she doesn't do anything different. But it's not only the flight attendant. The real estate person knows. I don't care how big deals you closed. There's another gentleman or gal that closed just as big a deals, and they're still across the desk from you. Same thing as you're a dentist, a doctor, an attorney. Even if you're a very high-end attorney, you still got to keep your foot on the gas.
Yeah.
When you start helping leader back by leader, the business in network marketing takes on a mind of its own.
Oh, yeah.
You can't stop it if you tried. So if you do want to go see your daughter's piano recital, or you want to go take a vacation or have a vacation after vacation, you got the opportunity. But most people, that's changing their perception. They think that you're still working hard. No, when you have a system, you got an upline that knows what they're doing. You don't have to keep your foot on the gas like you do in any other career, any other profession. I haven't seen anything like this. And you could hear the passion in my voice that I still love this industry. And we haven't tried to be, as you know, the king,
we're not full of
king
ourselves.
speakers or whatever in the industry. We're just like, no one hardly even knows us. We're just rolling up our shirt sleeves to help people win and succeed. But now that I see this window that we can all really change the mindset of what people think around the world because they're open, I think we all need to step it up, like Gina said, and really be real with the people, but go to work and help everybody win and succeed, and not look for we only know how to build it from the ground roots, the grassroots. We only know how to build it from organically build. And that's what I love about this industry. I've not liked, as I got more into it, you hear the different maneuvers and way that people build it. I'm talking about building it honestly so that everyone knows when they're brand new, you did it the same way they had to do it. And that really gives you credibility with those people when they know that, hey, you had to roll up your shirt sleeves. You had to make the phone calls. You had to help put the people in your business just like we had and help the people. And that gives you a lot of credibility than just saying, oh, I got some, way to special opportunity or whatever to be in a certain spot or whatever. That really, to me, ruined our industry. And I really like to bring it back to the way that it really was meant to be.
Yeah. Well, Steve and Gina, I appreciate you taking the time. I'm glad you're getting a little bit more loud and maybe a little bit more known inside of the profession.
Thank
you. I'm excited to see the next 5 years, to see the next 10 years.
Yes, us too.
What that's all going to turn into. But thank you for coming to Vegas and sharing your thoughts.
And thank you for having us. What a blessing. Thanks.
So that's my conversation with Steve and Gina Merritt. I hope you got value from it. If you did, make sure that you like, that you subscribe, that you share this with somebody that you care about. I think passing it forward and helping us spread the word is going to help us take the profession to the next level. Take the skills, take the belief, take the standards, and raise them up together. So do that, and we'll see you next time.